What's here, y'all? We'll continue on with our Preakness 150 contender profiles. Let's talk about goal oriented for Bob Baffert, and obviously the connections alone have to you have to take this one seriously, especially when you got Flavian Pratt in the irons. This one's undefeated. Uh, had a interesting maiden where he broke a little slow and was able to rally, and then came right back, running on Derby Day and put in a pretty dogged performance in the mud. Take a look at the pedigree here. You see, you look at the dosage profile, not a lot up there, but you also it's by not this time, Giants Causeway. Um, so fairly new sire, so it wouldn't be a lot of influences, but not this time. It's obviously been a very good sire so far. Very versatile. They can run in anything, on anything, dirt, turf, obviously mud. Um, Busy Caroline underneath by one of my favorite horses, the Fleet Alex. Um, and we look at, if you go by that dosage index and the center of distribution, obviously distance is not going to be an issue. But again, want to say these numbers aren't completely accurate. Looking underneath at Busy Caroline, the conduit mare profile, you do see plenty of stamina influences, but collectively, a little skewed towards speed. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And on the triads, pretty good uh, middle distances, right in the middle influences. So at the outset, again, pedigree not a huge, as big a thing as it is for the Derby. And I think goal oriented should be fine at the distance. Take a look at the running lines. Obviously, not a lot to go on. We've only got a couple of races, but um, you do note that it's unusual for a Bob Baffert to be a little slow to get going in a maiden race, but obviously this one made up for it, and won for fun in the end. I mean, basically just walked right by. You see, Train the Trainer, who was on the front end for the majority of the race, did come back and win, so it validates that start as being a pretty good maiden. And you see the race rating of 114. That's pretty high for a maiden race. So very good effort, albeit with a slow break. Rallied fine, and I just think he showed a ton of quality. When you see a horse who's able to do that and just draw away, uh, pretty damn good. Coming back to Churchill Downs on Derby Day in the slop, uh, he had it a little easier than he might have. We did have uh, Sorcerer's Silver broke down or was pulled up, who was up amongst the leaders to give some added pressure. So it was a little easier than perhaps it might have been. However, it was still a pretty good field. You see Hypnus and Tis Secure, two pretty good horses, finished 2 and 3, and Hypnus loves the mud. So was definitely Hypnus was getting to goal oriented to a degree, but I thought goal oriented showed some good resolve in hanging in there to win. Um, and if you look at the running lines, you do see 1 by 3/4 of the length, so it was kind of begging for the finish line a little bit, but um, I don't know that I'm going to hold that much against him. You see the race rating of 115 and the class rating of 119. Again, a horse progressing. Um, as the race ratings get better, the class rating going up, very good signs, excellent progression, and not a lot to knock in that regard. Certainly, if Bob Baffert being the trainer, I mean, we all know the record there. I think he was won 8 Preaknesses, so he knows how to win this one. And scratching out Rodriguez now with a foot injury, I mean, certainly makes things a little easier, I think, for goal oriented. And in particular, it's a nice time, and even in the mud at 142 and 4 for a mile and 16th. And uh, the fractions were pretty solid too. So there's a lot of things to like, particularly the 104 Brisnet number. And you see that increasing with each successive race, so that's a good thing too. Looking at the work tab, there's only one thing, and again, want to be very clear, we're splitting hairs here a little bit. But I like to see Bob Baffert horses with that 6 furlong bullet. that's when he really is putting the bottom into a horse. And you do see, granted, his first start was April 6th, and then he's going right to May 3rd. So those are more of maintenance type of moves. But I just always kind of love to see that 6 furlong work. That kind of tells you that Baffert really is high on this one. Not to say that he isn't high on goal oriented. It's a very minor point, but it is a little something there to think about. But there are obviously some really there's a nice solid work tab here, so it's not much to complain about. Just a little tiny thing, but we have to look for those things when we're evaluating horses. So obviously, goal oriented is one that we do have to take seriously, and there's an awful lot to like here. First, look at the positives. Bob Baffert. What can you say? I mean, the guy knows how to train horses, and I'm not going to let what happened to Citizen Bowl in the Derby dissuade me from being high on Bob Baffert. He knows how to get horses, especially ones lightly raced, ready for these big efforts. So I think that's major league feather in goal-oriented cap. Versatility, mainly because in the maiden he did break slow and was able to recover from it fine. Obviously the Preakness may not be as easy to do, but do note also in his follow-up race at Churchill he was a little slow to get going, and he rated very briefly, but before taking the lead. And I think that's a product of you got the best horse, get him to the lead, and say goodnight. But I think this horse does look like maybe he's got some versatility, so rating perhaps might be something that this one can do in the Preakness. But again, the way he runs, he may not have to. We'll see. Negatives, who's he run against? I mean, Hypnus is a very good horse in the mud, not so good otherwise. Or with without Lasix, not so good. It was a pretty good field. He did get a good class rating. He was better than the one of Clever Again that we profiled. But you still have that question mark of who exactly is he running against. We don't know yet. And a little another negative is that do remember that they were getting to him in the stretch, and he wasn't drawing off necessarily. And that may be a product of Hypnus being not so great, although his best case scenario that goal-oriented was able to beat him. But it's just a little thing here. And with new shooters, we have to consider these type of things. Company at the top. Clever Again, I think he's fairly certain he's going to go to the lead. Goal-oriented may as well. And then you've got River Thames to consider, amongst others. So there should be a fair amount of horses who want to run at the front end. I don't necessarily think that means the pace will be really hot or lively, but what is important about it is that when you have a horse who's had only a couple of races, and he's pretty much had it his way in both to a certain extent, then we want to see certainly how he does when he faces a little adversity early on. And that's what he really hasn't faced yet. However, given the fact that Bob Baffert trains his horse, given everything else, I think goal-oriented certainly has to be considered a major player in this race, and should add something to the Preakness. I mean, if we don't get Journalism or Sandman running in the race, or even American Promise, then we've got all new shooters, and really it becomes more of a ungraded stakes or a grade 3 at the very best. It wouldn't be the most competitive of fields. So that would certainly give goal-oriented a much better chance to win the race. Obviously, if Journalism or Sandman run in the race, then it's a little different story. We have to reevaluate. But right now, based on the confirmed runners, goal-oriented would have to be one to consider as a major player and a high-level win candidate in the Preakness. So I hope our analysis helps you with your own assessment of goal oriented. We're going to do this for all the Preakness runners, and hopefully Pimlico at some point will confirm the field and draw the post, so we have that to work with. But right now we're just getting a first take, getting a pretty good idea of what we're going to be looking at, and obviously post positions. Well, with a smaller field aren't going to be as imperative as they are in the Derby. They're certainly is something to consider for sure. But this is just a first look, and I hope it helps you along those lines. If you do like content like this, of course, please like and subscribe. Again, thanks to all of you who continue to grow our community. Keep up with the comments. Loving that. Andrew Carpenter in particular, I want to thank you. You've been extremely consistent with chiming in, and all positive. So thank you for that. Just a personal thank you from me on that. We're going to have more content. We'll do this for all the Preakness contenders. We will have if nothing else, we will have our final assessment where we put everything together for the Preakness. I'm going to try to do the elements of handicapping. It may not be possible. Time is kind of the essence, but we'll do the best we can. You'll have full card selections on Preakness Day, as well as best bets, value plays, and all that stuff as well. So much more content coming from Right at the Wire. Stay tuned. That's it from here. I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.